got some major reports to break down on today's edition of Vikings Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Patrick Siepman. So what's coming up on today's show? The Vikings could be looking to add another wide receiver this offseason, and maybe it could be Adam Thielen. Then also we got a report from Darren Wolfson on Milton Williams and Najee Harris, as apparently both those guys are on the Vikings' radar. So before we dive into it, I do want to get you guys an updated look at our free agency sub-battle. We actually picked up over 150 subscribers yesterday, but our Bears Now show picked up just over 200. So with free agency starting on Monday, if you guys could help us out, hit that subscribe button, lock us in, and do not miss a thing around your Minnesota Vikings. It's going to be a crazy weekend. It's going to be a crazy next week here in the NFL world. So if you guys want to stay up to date on all the latest Vikings news, rumors, reports, or whatever it is, go down there, hit that sub button. All right, so the new report, this is coming in from Darren Wolfson as well, as he said the Vikings have interest in bringing in another wide receiver 3 this offseason. So pretty much the Vikings aren't sold on Jalen Nailor being the wide receiver 3 of the future, and maybe they could look in the free agent market to pick up a guy on maybe a 1-year, $4 or $5 million deal, and here are some of the top guys out there. So you got a guy like Keenan Allen, veteran receiver, was with the Bears last season. Tyler Lockett just got released from the Seattle Seahawks. Marquise Brown, Tim Patrick, Elijah Moore, Josh Palmer, Brandon Cooks, Noah, and Dwami Brown. So you got some good options out there, especially the high-end guys like Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett, like Marquise Brown. I would even love a guy like Tim Patrick, Brandon Cooks, or Josh Palmer. But if I'm being honest, guys, I saw this report, and I kind of took it as an excuse to talk about Adam Thielen, if I'm being honest here, because obviously Thielen not cut yet by the Carolina Panthers. There are really no strong reports out there that could suggest he could be cut, but I was taking a look at the financials, and maybe they could decide to do so. So a pre-June 1st cut or trade for Thielen wouldn't really give the Panthers any benefits here. It would create some dead cap for him, but it would open up $1.51 million in savings. So this, a pre-June 1st cut, I don't think is likely. But what I could see happen is that the Panthers designate Adam Thielen as a post-June 1st cut or trade. Now, in this scenario, you just split up the dead cap, and you would actually save $6.3 million this year to spend. And also, we were getting reports that the Carolina Panthers want to be big spenders in free agency. So maybe Adam Thielen could be on the market, and the Vikings, no doubt, should be picking up that phone and calling Thielen's agent, talking about a return to Minnesota. But I think this is possible. Like, if the Panthers are saying to themselves, we want to go spend big money, and you could just let Adam Thielen, you could cut him after June 1st or just designate him as a June 1st cut. I don't hate that idea. But I also want to kick it back to a quote Adam Thielen had on most likely the quarterback one next season, J.J. McCarthy. Obviously, Sam Darnold still is a possibility, but I think it's going to be number 9. And Thielen had this to say. He's got all the tools, that's for sure. He can sling it, and he's super accurate. We're wearing shorts and T-shirts out there, but you can still see a lot just from accuracy, timing, and those kind of things when you're running routes on air. He's a great kid. You don't really realize that he's 21 years old when you're talking to him, and when you're hanging around him, he's got a maturity about him that you can tell goes beyond his age. And that's step number 1 as a quarterback, right? To have that maturity level, have that kind of poise or kind of that aura around you that just feels confident. And he's just a good person. So I've really enjoyed being around him for the little time that I've been able to be around him. And if you guys don't know, Thielen was talking on a podcast about his recent workouts with J.J. McCarthy. And Thielen obviously goes back to Minnesota during the offseason. He's working out there during the summer, and he just asked JJ, hey, come throw some footballs for me. And obviously JJ said he would do so. So these two, they're already workout buddies in the offseason, and I'll be all in on bringing number 19 back to Minnesota. And actually Thielen, man, give him credit. He went to the Carolina Panthers, and I remember saying here on the show, Thielen's career is going to die there in Carolina because they're poorly ran organization, had some big question marks at the quarterback position. But the fact that in 2023, during Bryce Young's rookie season, Thielen was still able to go for over 100 catches, over 1,000 yards, and he found the end zone 4 times. And then this past season, Thielen still very productive. 48 receptions, 615 yards, found the end zone 5 times. So, listen, I would do it in a heartbeat. I would pick up the phone, call Adam Thielen, call his agent, and say, hey, man, you want to come return to the Minnesota Vikings? Because what a perfect wide receiver 3 Thielen would be next to Jefferson and Addison. And also considering Addison has that suspension looming, could Adam Thielen return? Just kind of want an excuse to talk about Thielen on today's show. But would you guys want Thielen to return? Why for yes and for no? What say you down below in the comments section? All right, let's talk about the Milton Williams segment on today's show because apparently the Vikings, it could be going all in on the Super Bowl champion interior defensive lineman, Milton Williams. Now, this is what Darren Wolfson had to say on Score North, saying Milton Williams is 100% on the Vikings' radar. I don't know the price point or how high they will go, but 100% convinced they are in on Milton Williams next week. And I'll tell you what, Darren Wolfson, that is music to my ears. I love hearing this because this guy, he was my number one free agent target for the Minnesota Vikings. Like, if I had to pick any guy, even over the Drew Dalmans, even over the Willie Fries, Patrick McCarry's, if I had to pick one free agent the Vikings sign next week, it is Milton Williams. And actually, Kevin Seifert, beat reporter for ESPN, wrote this up about the Vikes signing. I'm saying the Vikings tried to sign free agent Christian Wilkins last season to give them some juice on the interior of the defensive line. And they'll take another swing here. Over the past 2 seasons, they have 91 sacks, but only 9 have came from defensive tackles. And then Dan Graziano predicted that the Vikings will throw Milton Williams a big enough offer to convince him to come to Minnesota, saying it was between Minnesota and Denver. And the 4th year on the deal and the stronger guarantee pushed this towards the Vikings. This is also a team that won 14 games last season, and while there's a lot to like about Denver's trajectory, the Vikings are already a contender. They give Williams the best chance to get back to the Super Bowl soon. So, Chef Kwesi, make it happen, Captain. I would love for Milton Williams to join this football team because you already got the great edge rushers. You got Grenard. You got Van Ginkel. Dallas Turner looks awesome in his offseason workouts. So will Kwesi cook? We'll get that answer on Monday, but I hope he does because if you bring in Milton Williams with on top of already the deep talent that defense has, with Brian Flores, I mean, you could have a top 5 defense in the league. And with J.J. McCarthy adding some talent to the interior of the offensive line, all the weapons, Christian Darrisaw coming back, man, could be a special season for the Minnesota Vikings. But I'll ask you guys this, because Milton Williams is probably going to run you $20 to $24 million per year. It's a hefty price tag, but I'm a believer in this guy. So would you toss the bag at Milton Williams? Give me a Y for yes, or give me an N for no down below in the comments section. All right, so the new report on Najee Harris is that he is on the Vikings' radar if they aren't able to retain Aaron Jones. Darren Wolfson mentioned this on the Score North podcast earlier on today on Thursday. So it does make a lot of sense why the Vikings would have interest in Najee Harris, and considering him being that very physical, bruising running back, which the Vikings haven't really had over the last couple of years. Honestly, since Latavius Murray is with this football team, you haven't really had a dominant running back, especially on the goal line situations. And I'll give Najee Harris credit. The Steelers have never had great offensive lines, and he has still been able to be somewhat productive. And they run him like a madman. Over 250-plus carries in each of the last 4 seasons, but he's also been able to accumulate more than 1,000 yards, floating around 6, 7, 8 touchdowns over the last 4 seasons. And him and Aaron Jones, very similar production this past year. Now, Aaron Jones, less carries, more yards, so he was just more productive in the carries he had. And obviously, Aaron Jones has more dual threat ability as he's one of the best pass-catching backs in the National Football League. But, still Najee Harris able to go over 1,000 yards. And I don't know if this is a hot take or not, and I love Aaron Jones. I would actually rather choose Harris over him. However, still at the end of the day, the Vikings need to go draft a running back. I mean, there are reports that there could be 22 to 30 running backs drafted this draft. Like, almost every team is going to draft a running back. But still, if it's between Harris and Jones, I would probably go Harris just because he's a younger option. I think he's better at the goal line than Aaron Jones, and I think that's really where the Vikings offense struggled this past season, is just on those goal-to-go situations. So, still, I want the Vikings to draft a running back. And it's not like something where I'm like pounding the table. They need to choose Najee Harris over Aaron Jones. Just personally, if it comes down to both those guys get $7 million, I'd rather give $7 million to Najee Harris. But if you guys disagree with me, give me an AJ for Aaron Jones or give me an NH for Najee Harris down below. Now, if you guys want to hit me up on Twitter, that's a handle right there, at Pat Sieps. Give me a follow over there. I'll give you guys a follow right back. But thank you guys so much for watching today's edition of Vikings Now by Chat Sports. See you guys next time. Skol Vikes.